without going through the dispute resolution procedures, we have to have 6 of them vote in favor. 6 out of 7, because 5 out of 7 is not 75%, I don't think. 5 divided by 7. 5 divided by 7 is 71.4%. So we don't make it.
So we need 6 votes, yes, in order to proceed for the discussion of the item 14A, but not to.
No. That I don't want to oversimplify it either.
No.
In order to go through 14A and bypass all of the conditions preceding, all of the hoops that we have to jump through in a dispute resolution procedure with another government, in order to bypass all of those and be able to go straight to litigation or jump into litigation, we need 75% of the body to vote in favor.
Well, Gina, I think I already see 4 or 5 council members on here. I'm going to go ahead and start the meeting on time, and then when we get to that discussion, I think Raul already said it, that we need 6 votes, and if there isn't, it doesn't go anywhere, so that's fine. But we're going to go ahead and call this meeting to order. It is 6:01. I have the agenda with me, and it's a little different. Instead of doing the call to order, it says special presentations first, correct, Madam Clerk?
Correct. We became aware that there was going to be an individual speaking, so we included it for the benefit of the public. Oh, in advance, as soon as we became aware.
Got it. Well, special presentation.
But I think, Mayor, that it is better to always follow the proper order. Let's do roll call, a call to order and roll call, and then you can proceed with a special presentation.
Got it. It's 6:01. Madam Clerk, please, let's call this meeting to order. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Good evening. Council Member Collazo.
Present.
Council Member Dieguez. Okay. Council Member Rodriguez.
Present.
Council Member Ruano.
Present.
Present. Council Member Alvarez. Vice Mayor Rodriguez.
I just spoke to him. He was expecting to attend because I literally, I just spoke to him.
Yes, I had spoken to him earlier. Mayor Sid?
Present.
So we have 4 out of the 7. We have quorum to start the meeting.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. So what order did you want to go through, Madam Clerk? I just want to be clear because I had it different on the agenda on the town website. So we just did.
Yes.
Do we do the moment of silence, the pledge, or how do you?
I would do it. I would keep the moment of silence next, then the Pledge of Allegiance, and then the special presentation.
Got it. Let's
Everyone
have
agrees.
our prayer led by our town manager, Ed Peterman.
You're muted, sir.
Lord, please guide our elected officials so that they may decide tonight's action with all the information that is available to them wisely and with the best intentions of our town residents in mind. Amen.
Thank you, Mr. Manager. The Pledge of Allegiance is next, led by our Deputy Town Manager, Tony Lopez.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You may be seated. Thank you, Mr. Deputy Town Manager. Follow the order here. So we have Alex Damiron from Somos Community Health who wanted to give an update on their 2-week mission here in the town, go through some of the numbers that they saw, everything that happened, and then I'll open it up if the council has any questions of Alex. But I do want to thank them for coming here and spending 2 weeks. I know it's been difficult for their organization. They lost 12 healthcare workers during the peak of the pandemic up in New York. And those folks came down here with a thought process. They were going to do 300 tests, and they ended up doing almost 2,000. So it was great to partner with their nonprofit, and then kudos to town staff, our manager, our deputy attorney, our town attorney, our deputy town manager, our park staff, Jeremy, everybody for working really hard to do the due diligence and get all the proper paperwork and put this in place so we can provide a great service to our residents. Alex?
Well, Mayor, thank you so much for having us here to provide you a brief summary of everything that we were able to do while being there in the city of Miami Lakes, a city that is very dear in my heart. I was born and raised in the Dominican Republic, but then I moved at a teenager age to Miami Lakes. I bounced around from Miami Lakes and Hialeah, where I went to school, and then went to the same alma mater that Mayor Sid went. So it was something dear for me to be able to go back and help. It was we were doing a lot of help already in Houston, Georgia, Phoenix, and of course New York. But once I saw the need there, I wanted to make it happen. I made a call on I believe on a Wednesday morning to Mayor Sid, and by the next Monday, I was already in Miami with my whole team doing testing. So got a good working group that you have put together down there. It was easy to collaborate. It was easy to put everything together. So very pleased. The disturbing part, I have to say, is we were able to do almost 2,000 tests, and as of right now, we're still missing some results. But right now, the percentage are very high. Last night, I received the latest report, and we have a 33.4 PCR, nasal PCR test positive in the population that we have done, meaning they're COVID positive, and another 30% IgG positive, meaning that the virus already went through those people, and they have developed their antibodies. So the numbers are high, which what we would like to tell you guys that you guys have to keep educating the people of Miami Lakes and nearby cities, because it's still big, it's still out there, and this is something that we cannot control alone. We have to fight all together and make sure that everybody take the necessary precautions.
Thank you, Alex. I'll open it up now to the council. If they have any questions, any comments to you about the organization, the work that you guys do. I did hear from our parks director, who had mentioned that, you know, some of your doctors got there at 7 o'clock in the morning and they didn't leave the tents till 3 o'clock in the afternoon. They rarely even had a chance. The demand was so big, they rarely even had a chance to eat. So kudos to them. Those nonprofit doctors were doing a great job. I'll just go around, see if any council members have any comments or questions. Councilman Rodriguez.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. First, Alejandro, I want to say thank you so much for you and your team coming down and helping us out. I know this definitely opened our eyes to the need for more testing. The one question I had was, I wanted to know your opinion as to what we could do, or what testing agencies can do in order to speed up the results of the tests.
That's a great question, but I think that's something that, as a nation, we're struggling right now because of the demand of, and because of how many tests we're trying to provide. And the real genes are something that every laboratory is just struggling to get. So one of the, as long as a new form of tests start coming out, and new methods, things would come back and be more at ease, and be able to expedite more of the exams. One of the things also that it's not helping, it's that people, if you're asymptomatic, and if you don't have the virus, and you have not been exposed to somebody with the virus, you should not be going to take a test. So right now, everybody's going to get tested, and that increasing the demand, and then also it's helping us spread the virus, because the people that actually need to get tested, they need to get their results quick because they have symptoms and all that, then that's getting a delay. So the message should be that if you have been exposed and if you have symptoms, then go ahead and get tested.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you very much. And thanks again for everything you guys have done.
Thank you.
Councilman Collazo?
No, thank you, Mayor. No, I actually very interesting, that statistic that 30% of the people that you tested came back positive. That's alarming. I mean, I've never heard of numbers that great coming back, and that's very alarming. Do you have further breakdown into where those people are living? You know, those are Miami Lakes residents that you tested. I know you can probably dig into that or drill into that, and I don't think you have that aggregate data handy, but could you share that with us? Because that would go a long way in how we educate our residents, and maybe the signaling that we need to give during our updates, or you know, what kind of message we're putting out there.
Absolutely. And first of all, I apologize. Today's my first day back, and I took a day off, and I actually in the golf course right now. Yes, absolutely. As soon as we get
that's never back, a bad place to be.
As soon as we get back, and as soon as we get all the results, I will be able to break everything down with the city of the people coming from. But I believe that most of our people tested were from Miami Lakes and city of Hialeah. So I will make sure that I provide to you guys the right breakdown, so you guys can see where we stand and how to move forward with the right information.
All right, thank you.
Hey, Councilman Alvarez?
I'm good, Mayor. Thank you.
Vice Mayor?
I just want to say it was a success from everything I hear, and I thank you folks very much for taking that time to do that. And it's something amazing to bring to our community. As a person who tested for COVID and couldn't get tested properly and couldn't get tested on time, and I truly appreciate what you guys have done.
Thank you.
Councilwoman Ruano?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And thank you so much for addressing our questions. I think some of the questions that I had have already been asked. I'm really interested in finding out the breakdown of the individuals that were tested and what areas they currently live in. But another question that I had was, what can we do to make sure that the people that come to get tested are because they've been exposed to someone or because they have symptoms? I know that a lot of our residents visited the testing site unnecessarily, and I feel that exposes them unnecessarily to potentially contracting the virus. What can we do to educate them, or what can we do to put something in place where, I know that originally when you went to get tested, if you didn't have symptoms and if you weren't exposed to anyone, they would turn you away. Is there anything that we can put in place or that we can, talk to residents about to discourage them from doing that?
I think it's education. It's just hard. You cannot reject people from providing services. You cannot deny people services. So it's just keep promoting and educating them so they can understand. And but other than that, there's not much that we could do in that position. So.
Okay, and another question that I had was, how many of the individuals that tested positive are testing positive for the first time? How many of them are individuals that are trying to test negative to get back to work? Do you have that? Would you be able to provide that breakdown?
I would not be able to if that person didn't test twice during my stay there, because I only have access to what I did. But I'm not sure if at the Department of Health level of the state of Florida, you'll be able to get that information, because all the positive COVID must be reported to the Department of Health of that state. So
okay, but when you report it, do you report, there's no way for you to know if it's a first time case or if it's someone? No. Okay, because I know that I had asked the manager about that originally, and there was some way that the state of Florida was separating those figures. They were reporting positive versus positivity. I think, Mr. Peterman, if if I'm not, I don't want to misquote what you told me, but I think that there was a positivity rate and then positive cases, but that's not something that that your particular location was reporting to the state, correct?
Well, what we report to the state is the positive COVID case, nasal PCR swab. So we must report to them everybody that tested positive in the in their test. So that's
right,
what
but without the additional information as to whether they're testing positive for the second time or the third time.
Correct. We're not privileged to that. So absolutely.
Okay.
But if they did twice get tested in our site, yes, then that information would be available. And I can get to that.
Thank you very much. I appreciate you answering my questions.
Council member, just to follow up on that, the clearinghouse for all of these tests is the state. Just like Somos can really just know that it's the same as like MD Now or Baptist Urgent Care or any other, or the testing site at Hard Rock. They don't know about how many times the people have tested somewhere else. All they know is the times that they've tested at their own location. So the clearinghouse for all of that is always going to be the state.
So the state will at some point figure out if the person has tested positive more than once, or if they're within the same, that same COVID cycle. I'm just trying to understand how the state reports the positive cases versus the recurring ones.
Yeah, the state will know because they keep track of it through each individual person's vital information, their date of birth. I don't know if every lab collects social security numbers, but name, date of birth, certain vital information that then they establish that database, and they know whether this person has tested already, and if they've tested already and been positive already, then they don't go into the positivity rate, because it would be the second or third time that they've tested positive. They go into the positive category.
Correct. That is correct.
Thank you.
Is Councilman Dieguez on?
No, he's not, Mayor.
Got it. Staff, anybody have questions about the testing site that was here? Any of you guys? No?
Councilman Dieguez will be joining shortly.
Got it. Well, thanks again, Alex. Thank you to Somos. I know how many tests have you guys done nationally already?
We are close to 500,000 tests already.
Got it. Oh, thank you guys for spending 2 weeks with us. I know all your healthcare professionals were all from either the Bronx or Brooklyn, right? The ones that were here.
So we did have a lot of them there as administrators, and then my wife, which is a Miami-Dade college registered nurse, was there as a nurse, and then the main doctor, Dr. Delmon, was a Florida resident as well, and licensed practitioner as well. So, and what we did was we did also hire a lot of local healthcare workers, so that to help provide work jobs to those that are in need. So that we also help to move the economy that way.
Got it. Well, thank you, Alex. Thanks for the report. Thank you guys for your work. Stay safe and keep doing a good job around the nation.
Thank you, Manny. I appreciate everything, and stay safe, everybody.
Thank you.
We're moving on in mine and Gina to public comments, to the order of business, deferrals, additions, deletions, council. Seeing none, is there a motion?
Move the order of business.
Second. There's a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none, the motion passes. The order of business has been adopted. Public comments. Madam Clerk, would you like to read your message?
Ash, oh, yes. 1 minute, Mayor. Okay. All comments from the virtually attending public shall be directed to the mayor in a courteous tone. To ensure the orderly conduct and efficiency of this meeting, public comments shall be limited to 3 minutes maximum per person. No clapping, applauding, heckling, verbal outburst in support of or in opposition to a speaker or his/her remarks shall be permitted. Should a member of the virtually attending audience become unruly or behave in any manner that will disrupt the orderly and efficient conduct of the meeting, such person will be asked to leave the Zoom meeting. And as a courtesy to others, all electronic devices must be set to silent mode to avoid disruption of the proceedings. Thank you. So let us begin.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Are there any members of the public at this moment? The only person that I see that is not a member of our staff or council members is Hector Abad, the Chair of Education Advisory Board, but he will be speaking on an item later tonight. Do you, Germán or Gina, see any other members of the public?
I do not see anyone else, but Germán, you can kindly confirm.
Yeah, there is no other members of the public.
Okay.
Thank you very much. With that, public comments is closed. We're moving on to the first item, which is item 14A. Mr. Vice Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor. As most of you know and have been watching on the news, all the stuff that's going on with the battle with Dade County. Can y'all hear me okay? Actually, because I was running two meetings at the same time on Zoom. So I think I'm done with my other meeting. So basically, representing the council at the League of Cities, as I've been assigned by the mayor for the last couple of years. So now we're in the process of looking at the CARES Act. And I'm sure most of you watched the news. Mayor Jimenez, and I'll just give you a brief synopsis, should be under a minute of what's going on and where we're at right now. So Mayor Jimenez originally budgeted $30 million for all 34 municipalities to share in from a pot of $478 million. Okay, so after telling us that we were only going to get $30 million, the League of Cities president, Keon Hardaway, as City of Miami commissioner, and the executive board started to negotiate with the mayor who assigned his deputy mayors to negotiate for him. Their offer was $135 million to the 34 municipalities with $70 million unallocated. Okay. So the league said, okay, now we have 135 million to share within the 34. Let's discuss the 70 million that's out on the table that's left. So they were discussing, they were talking, and they said they would get a call back from the deputy mayors. They didn't. And at last Monday or Tuesday's BCC, the Board of County Commissioners, the mayor laid out the plan of $30 million given to the 34 cities. We don't know, because we haven't had an explanation, if the mayor spoke to his staff or overrode his staff and decided to go with only $30 million after his staff had laid out $35 million for the 34 municipalities. So City of Miami, being the largest city, right, by population, would get $80 million of that pot of $478 million. For example, Atlanta, which is slightly larger than Miami, by population, received $86 million in CARES Act funds to the city of Miami. Okay, now 57% of all residents in Dade County live within a city boundary, meaning that out of that 478 million, 275 million would go to the 34 municipalities, not 30 million, not 135 million. Okay, so Mayor Jimenez has taken it upon himself to arbitrarily, unilaterally give us $30 million. This is the same person that allocated $10 million for taxis and limousines. $10 million were allocated for cultural and museums from the CARES Act. Over $25 million allocated to nonprofits that have an administrative overhead cost, which the cities don't. Okay, and he accused the cities of requesting a blank check. Now, out of that $478 million that the county received, there is no oversight per se, because right now the federal government is not asking for invoices. What the Mayor Jimenez is saying, send us your invoices, send us your plans, every city did, okay, and abided by that request. And now it's saying, send me your invoices and I'll pay them for you, okay? Well, the cities believe that we can handle the money better than he can. He says that he's the mayor of the people because he's the county mayor and he knows better how to run the funds. The League of Cities believes that each city that's local knows where the money needs to go and which businesses and which areas need to be funded. And that's the battle we're going through. So they believe that they negotiated, the league believes that the mayor and the mayor's office negotiated in bad faith. The mayor doesn't consider the negotiations. He says they were talks, and he arbitrarily decided $30 million to be shared by 34 municipalities. So I truly appreciate everybody logging on for this, for the resolution. And I'm sure I hope you've all read the resolution that the League of Cities put out. And so there's some big cities that are gonna file a lawsuit, such as Miami, Hialeah, probably Miami Gardens, Coral Gables, Doral, and they're going to take the brunt because they're the ones that are receiving the brunt of the money. But the negotiations at 135 million weren't by population. It was just, the League of Cities taking it in good faith that the mayor was going to give that kind of money so that all 34 municipalities could share. So he is upset that $275 million is going to come out of that CARES Act to the cities, and the cities are going to manage it. So he's trying to sidestep, and that's where the fight is. So tonight I'm asking, just to let you know, I voted yes on the League of Cities reso to go forth to bring it to approve the League of Cities to write up the resolution. And now it has to come to the council to approve or disapprove of us joining into that litigation or lawsuit, whatever it takes. After I spoke to the attorneys, I can see that this is gonna. They're talking class action in the resolution. So if you have any questions or do you want the attorney to read out the resolution first, we can go with that.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. And yeah, that's fine if you want the attorneys to do a report. Just because I know Lorenzo and Raul, specifically Raul's reviewing it today, and I know Lorenzo was on one of those calls also. They were working together, talking to the City of Miami folks and all that, who were the ones that were taking the lead. But I know that they were on some of the calls with all the mayors last week that I was on. So I know that they have firsthand knowledge, Raul and Lorenzo, on this as to what's going on. So Raul, Mr. Attorney, you can jump in.
Sure. A couple of things. As far as I know, no city has yet filed suit. Lorenzo's been, speaking to our colleagues at different cities and things like that. We think the city of Miami is closest to filing a lawsuit. We really, we agree with Nelson as to how bad this is. We don't think it's appropriate or anything like that. Whether it's legal is a different story. A couple of things. Number one, in order to consider, we can do anything from our own resolution saying, we believe the money should be given to the cities and everything else, all the way through to, getting authority to either commence our own litigation, which I don't recommend, or jump in once somebody else does it. But in order to do any litigation, we've got to comply with Florida Statute 161 or 164.1041. That's the dispute resolution statute for all cities, or intergovernmental disputes, not cities, counties, state, whatever. Essentially, there's two requirements that we would need to vote on, and we can do it as part of one resolution. Number one, 6 of the members of this board have to vote for it, and I believe we now have 6 at the meeting. So essentially, if one of you is missing, it has to be unanimous, because there's a requirement that 75% of the board, not of the members present, but of the board, approve the resolution. And you'd have to believe that there's a danger to health safety, or welfare of the public, or significant legal rights comprised. You know, I think you'd meet the significant legal rights, issue that our rights are being impaired or taken. I think there's also the emergency part of it because there's a pandemic. So if you wanted to, I would feel more comfortable if we either did some sort of a resolution imploring the county to do X, Y, or Z, or a resolution that said if another city files suit, the attorneys are to take a look at it, and if we believe we can jump in, that we should, or I can bring it back to you for another special call meeting so we can jump in. I'm flexible on that end of it, but I'm a little cautious to recommend that we actually take the lead on something like this.
And he's absolutely correct, Mayor. This is not for us to take the lead. Like I said, after speaking to Mayor Suarez, Mayor Hernandez of Hialeah, representatives of Miami Gardens, and the Mayor Doral, it seems that they're the ones that are going to initiate and lead this charge with the League of Cities as a united front. And so I completely agree with the attorneys. It's not for us to lead the charge and lead this revolution. Financially, you know, as a small city, it would be very costly for us to be the lead. But there's a lot of attorneys that put in a lot of pro bonos time into the League of Cities, and I don't know how that's going to work out. But again, this is not for us to take the lead on this. This is for us to join in and fight for our 33,000 residents to get their fair share or equitable share.
Mr. Vice Mayor, is there a motion before we get into discussion that you want to make?
The motion is for, as I said, the motion is for us to support the League of Cities resolution to join in with their act with whatever litigation or lawsuit that they put in as an equal partner of the 34 cities, and according to our I would have to say, according to the attorney, maybe our financial contribution should be according to our size. Is that correct, Lorenzo, or how would that work out?
We could work something out with them at the time. I would prefer that they file something and then we attempt to intervene. And that way we put our own bill and we don't pay for a whole host of litigation that they're going to get involved in or anything like that. So I would prefer, if we're going to do something like that, that we try and intervene or do amicus curiae type briefs.
Right.
That's what I would recommend.
Say it again. I'm sorry.
That if someone files a lawsuit, that we I kind of would rather just bring it back to you guys at the time. We can do another special call meeting. Hey, they brought a lawsuit. I take a look at it. I give you something on the merits as to what I think of it, you know, each individually. I tell you what, and then do another special call meeting in 48 hours and we can follow up.
The league has asked if we could indicate if we'd be willing to participate. So that, I mean,
okay.
If we needed to do a basic motion, Mayor, then I could say a basic motion. Are we in favor of participating and going along with the league in the sense of moving along the resolution, and if we have to join into a lawsuit and bring it back to the attorneys. However the council wants to do it.
Can you read? Can you read it? Can you read again aloud the motion, please?
Okay.
Not clear.
So the original motion was for us to join in and support the resolution of following into a lawsuit if needed by the League of Cities against the county. So the resolution that was sent to you by Gina that indicates that the League of Cities intends to file litigation if the county cannot come back with a substantial change number from $30 million to be split up by 34 municipalities. Okay, The attorneys seem to want us to not so much support that to vote on and not take the lead, right? We don't want to take the lead. Is there background noise? Is it just me, or where's it coming from? Okay, well, either way. So that's what the attorneys would like. What I would like is just for us to agree, listen, we're going to support the League of Cities and let our attorneys come back to us if need be, if we need to do a second decision. But I think the fact that we need to indicate to the League of Cities our support, are we in or out, to fight County Hall on the unequitable distribution of the $478 million that they've offered to the 34 municipalities.
Is there a second to that?
Second.
I'll second.
All right, so there's a motion and a second. Real quick, I was on a follow-up call with all the mayors. When I mentioned to all of them for that possibly filing an amicus brief to this case, they immediately, and Lorenzo, I know you were able to jump on that one. They immediately said no, that they wanted us to be a plaintiff and not just file an amicus brief. So, and I kind of handed it off to the attorneys at that point. I was the city's attorney for Miami and the mayor of Doral. They were just saying, no, that's not the route that we want cities to go. They wanted us to be actual plaintiffs in Raul. I don't know what your thoughts are on that, but I know that they said that an amicus brief was not what they were looking for, that they want us to be actual plaintiffs in the case.
Well, look, if my mic's on, right?
Yes.
Yeah. If they have something that they've drafted or they have something that they want to proceed with, look, I'll look at it. I certainly will. But to go out on a limb right now and just file something on our own and be the lead plaintiff, that's not something I recommend, and I don't think anybody wants that. You know, if they have something that they propose, I'm willing to listen. So far, no one's provided us with anything as far as I know. You know,
I think it's the other way around. We provided them with some guidance, and even in the process, when we provided them with a 170th lawsuit to showcase what and the actual process with the county is. So, you know, we're the ones that kind of even show, because a lot of them didn't understand the process, that you needed the votes to circumvent the whole mediation process with the county and go straight to an injunction. So their whole thing was to do an injunction as soon as possible before the funds got spent, because if we go through a mediation process, we know how long that's taken with 170. All the funds of the CARES Act would be expended. And I know part of the discussion today that the city of Miami was talking about was they're actually looking into possibly even suing the federal government, because the federal government were the ones that set the actual population threshold, which was 500,000, which is, there's only 32 cities in the nation that are 500,000. They want 19,000 cities to receive direct appropriations. So I know they're looking at various different things, but I know that that's where we're at.
May I ask a question when you have a chance?
Councilwoman Veron.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. With respect to their offer to reimburse us for expenses, if we send them invoices, can the manager explain to me why that's not something that we're open to?
We don't have a problem with the process. We have a problem with the volume, right? Because there are programs and projects that we have already expended money on, and that is not a problem. We don't care about it being on a reimbursement basis. It's just a matter of, you know, the original, the vice mayor was speaking about, the original version, the 135,000, there was a presentation that was made to the county commission, and that county commission presentation contained a listing of all the municipalities, and there was an allocation, and it was never to be a blank check. They were never going to write us a blank check and then worry about it later. It was always going to be on a reimbursement basis. So that part of it, we have no problems with it being that. It's just a matter of right now, the way they took away that allocation by population when it was 135 million, and now the 30 million it's good. It's essentially going to pit cities against cities because now there is no predetermined allocation. And you say, okay, the town of Miami Lakes is entitled to X number of dollars. And if you have spent that, from March until December, you're going to get reimbursed for it. It's not that way. Now it's almost like a competitive process where we are.
Right. Is it like first come, first serve until the funds are expended, or is they're not going to allocate per municipality?
Right now, the current version takes away the allocation that every town, every city is going to be entitled to a certain amount of money. Right now, it appears, and we haven't seen, and that's part of the problem. Part of the problem is that we don't know and have all of the details.
And the reason it doesn't work is because it's only $30 million. Between Miami and Hialeah alone, their reimbursements are higher than that and combined. So that's where this whole issue's coming up. $30 million between 32 municipalities, especially when you have a city of Miami and Hialeah, their reimbursements alone are past that threshold. So that's where the big issues coming apart. So you include everybody's reimbursements, it's hundreds of millions of dollars.
So what we're thinking is that those two big municipalities would take the bulk of the money, and the smaller municipalities would be left out, I guess.
No, the reality is there's just not enough funds to at all to go around. And Nelson and the vice mayor gave you the example on that.
Right. Have we done the math of what reimbursement we're looking at needing?
We have monies that we've already expended, and then we have projects. And I sent all of you, and I know that you're out of town and you may not have had access to your email, but earlier today was the deadline. Today was the deadline that was imposed on us by the county to submit, and it's not even the final reimbursement application. It's just like about 3 columns of information on different categories of programs, on things that we have expended up to now and things that we plan to expend between now and December 30th. And we submitted that to them today. And some of that were programs and projects that we believe the 7 of you should have the right to be able to decide on that. You 7 know the town of Miami Lakes and the needs and, of the town residents better than somebody down, at County Hall. And we submitted various different types of projects dealing with small businesses, with residents and everything. And we submitted that. Now, I'm sure that the programs and projects that we submitted are not going to be funded. But we sent everything that we thought was a viable project and something that you, the town council, can eventually decide on what's important and what's not important.
Okay, so moving forward, if we get lost in the bureaucracy of all of this and this takes forever and the money gets expended, then we have to be very careful with those projects that we were looking at because we don't have the funding for them and we're not going to get the funding, then they can't move forward.
The majority of the programs and projects that we submitted for consideration by the county they meet the criteria, the 3-pronged criteria of the CARES Act. It's CARES Act related or COVID related. They're not things that we have budgeted already in our budget. And
right.
Projects that we believe we can execute before the end of December.
Right, but moving forward, if we don't make any legway with the county, and the lawsuit doesn't go through, and we don't have the funding, then I think that as a council we need to decide sooner rather than later which one of those things to not do, because we're not going to have the funding to do them. If we don't get those CARES Act dollars, we're not going to have the funding to be able to move forward on those things. And I know that a lot of the things that we've moved forward on now, especially with regards to, police overtime and oversight in general, we were counting on those dollars. So if we're not going to be receiving them, or if potentially we might not receive them, then we have to rethink the way that we're conducting business right now, because we're just going to dig ourselves into a hole.
Thank you, Councilman Morano. Councilman Rodriguez, in discussion.
Yes. This is for the vice mayor. Vice mayor, of those 270,000 that the League of Cities wants to file a class action for, how much of that will we be entitled to receive?
I don't know the exact number that we were given yet. I don't know if the manager has it of what qualified for us. The breakdown is the problem is that the negotiations was first by population as other cities were given, and then it broke down to, for example, like I said, City of Miami would be 80 million. $275 million would be what the 34 cities should be splitting up, with City of Miami taking the bulk of 80 million, and then it would break down to population. I've asked the league to give me a breakdown, and I asked City of Miami, and I'm still waiting for that response to give me the numbers of what their population number, what they were using for a population number. I don't know if our attorney or the mayor heard what that number was. So there was discussions. There was a mayor's meeting that the mayor participated in, and then there was meetings through the league that I participated in. And so, like I said, I don't know the exact number that we're talking about for us, but it would be significantly more than the 60,000 that was on the table. I believe that we might be getting,
Does anyone
or less.
have that number, Mr. Manager? Lorenzo?
In the original proposal that the county mayor proposed in the presentation he made to the commission, originally, not the one last Monday, but the original presentation, where they were talking about 135 million. The amount earmarked for Miami Lakes was $2.6 million.
That was when it was at 135?
Correct.
135, right. And that, I'm sorry, that's the number that I should have said, at 135.
Which the league was negotiating a higher number, and the big issue was that Mayor Bermudez, who was negotiating, one of the ones negotiating on behalf of the cities, he's a good friend of mine, and let me tell you, he's very, very diplomatic when it comes to dealing with other municipalities and the county and the state. I've never seen him call someone a liar. So when I heard him call county staff, specifically the negotiators, that they were lying, I knew that there was a major issue in the process. So just
this is the same, and he also went public and said how he supported Carlos Jimenez in both his elections, and he's very disappointed as a close friend and endorsement of Carlos Jimenez of the slap in the face that was issued by the bad faith negotiations from 135 to 30. So I mean, we're talking about a significant reduction of money.
Let me go around and get everybody's thoughts so we can.
One more thing, Mayor. Vice Mayor, in the League of Cities meetings, did they discuss what the county's position is and what they would do with the money instead of giving it to municipalities?
The League of, it's my understanding that was explained to me in the last meeting, was that their plan was to divvy up the money, and they've already split the funds. Like I said, 10 million went to taxi and limo service for loss of revenue. 10 million went to cultural and museums for loss of people going to museums and cultural events during this time. 25 million to nonprofits that have overhead costs, and that wasn't taken into consideration. And so those are just the highlights of money dished out. So you're talking about
that's only 45 million.
No. That's just the start of some of the projects that they were allocating. When they finished allocating.
But has the county said, we're not giving it to municipalities, we are doing this instead?
Yes.
And what is that? What is their plan?
Their plan is to give $30 million to 34 municipalities to share upon ourselves, figure that out, and then maybe cover any invoices that we may have as a city. But again, they haven't given us a clear fact. We do know that there's $70 million sitting, unallocated at this time. That the league said, well, where's that 70 million when you took away the 105 million? So there hasn't been any word from the mayor's office other than to accuse the cities of trying to take the money, and at the same time saying that he wasn't going to give the cities, and quote, a blank check to do what they want and plant trees.
So for example, the county actually got a lot more than that. The county got close to $1 billion, but 207 of that went to my MIA, Miami International Airport. 222 went to the transit system. That's where it's left with a 474. 70 of that he's going to use to help out businesses that are closed. And then there's a bunch. Another 35 million will go to charities, which that was a big contentious issue for mayors. They were like, look, you're giving it to CBOs that don't have the accounting requirements that cities have. You know, it just doesn't make any sense. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff in there that for that 474. There's the rental program that the county's doing. I mean, there's a myriad of program. There's a program for veterans that's being launched also. So there's a lot of stuff already. So that's one of the biggest fears. I know we can talk about this all night long, but the biggest fear is that while we're talking about it, cities are talking about it, all the dollars are going to get spent, and all that's left is $30 million. So just some for thought.
Thank you, Mayor. Councilman Rodriguez, were you done with your questions? Okay. I have a couple of questions, and then I'm going to make a comment. But my first question was more along what Councilwoman Morano was, her line of questioning. And this is directly through the chair to the manager. Mr. Manager, out of all of the monies that we as a town have currently spent that are CARES Act, do we have that number already? Do we know what that exact number is to date?
It's somewhere probably in the $100,000 to $200,000 range. Now, let me be clear on, how where that money is. A chunk of that money has been spent on police overtime. Police overtime, there's been somewhat of a wash because we haven't used police overtime on other things because, everything was shut down. So there's also monies that we are applying and requesting reimbursement for a lot of those expenses. The two other sources, one is and the other one is a Department of Justice grant that we have submitted maybe about a month ago. So obviously there have been some expenses that we've incurred since we applied to the Department of Justice. But if we were not to get funding from the CARES Act, we believe that we would get funding for some of our items from other sources. The problem is that FEMA says go to other places first. CARES Act says go to FEMA first. So that I'm afraid that at some point there's going to, even though it's all federal money, right? But I think that there's going to be a little bit of a tug of war at the federal level, and they're pointing to go here, go there, we're last resort, and the other one is saying we're last resort. So there's going to be some haggling there, even between federal agencies.
Could we, again, through the chair to the manager, could we, at this moment in time, take Jimenez at his word and say, hey, look, these are the things that we're submitting for reimbursement immediately. I have a feeling, as many of you have mentioned, there are a lot of people that are getting a lot of millions and a lot of zeros, and I'm afraid that what's happening is most of the cities are going to get left out. So in order to make sure that we get reimbursement for the expenses that we've had immediately, whatever decision we make, or maybe it's even an amendment to this motion, that we immediately ask the county for reimbursement for those expenses that we've already incurred and that we can show that we've incurred and they're CARES Act related. And if you want, I can draft that in the motion. I don't know if that's what you're already asking staff to do.
Council member, we've already done that because the thing that I mentioned a few minutes ago, that was the deadline was this afternoon that we submitted. In there are contained the listing of expenses that we've already incurred. Now, it's not the application that they asked, they kind of mixed apples and oranges. They wanted us in the one document, which is step one of this process, in this one document to combine things that you've incurred up to now, and then things that you forecast you're going to expend between now and the end of December. So we had no choice. It's their process, it's their workflow. So we submitted in there items that, but it's delineated because there is a column for items that you've expended between whatever the date was. I think it was March the 1st and June the 30th. We have earmarked them and listed on there the items that we've already expended and the things that we forecast or are requesting to expend. And so the items are already submitted to the county for CARES Act reimbursement, which is this first step in the process. Next will be them asking us for invoices and justification and documentation. And whether the number is 30 million or 135 million, we're moving forward and we're trying to comply with everything that's being asked of us administratively. And we're submitting it. And we're not saying just because it got reduced to 30 million, we're not throwing our hands in the air and saying, okay, we're not going to work with them. We're going to submit and we've applied already for the money that we've already expended.
Councilman Collazo, the sad part of this whole thing is that the county does not have those rules implemented for themselves. And the federal government has not asked for those rules to be implemented. They've arbitrarily implemented that we have to provide them with a plan of where the money's going and how we plan to allocate it. And so that comes down to where Mayor Jimenez's comment of next thing you know, the cities will be planting trees with CARE dollars money and not wanting to write us a blank check. And that's what a lot of the cities are upset about because he feels that he knows our area better than we do. And so it's a control power that the county is doing with the CARE Dollars Act. And so, you know, if the federal government is issuing that money by population, which it did to us or to the county, then we should be receiving money by population at 33,000, not negotiating out of 30 million. And that's the problem and the heartburn that the other cities are having. Like I said, some of the smaller cities like Biscayne Park are going to get nothing, nothing. And they, you know, and so that happens. There's other costs that are associated, not just the police overtime, switching to home and the Zoom and facilitating our employees to work from home and supplying hardware such as, you know, computers. And there's a lot of stuff that also is going to start accumulating as we filter through. The paperwork that they're supplying is nothing like a FEMA reimbursement for a hurricane. We can track all those funds. So now, you know, our administration is trying to guess and trying to propose items that are going to be used in the future on how we can build them to get our proper portion, our equitable portion. And that's not the way it should work. I'm sorry to interrupt.
No, that's fine. And I appreciate the clarification. And my two questions were just more geared towards making sure that we were planting our stake and making sure that whatever reimbursements we should be getting back, we had already done whatever's being asked of us to do. I understand the equitable argument, and you know, if we were distributing this per population, you know, X would be our allotment. You know, I also understand the county's argument that basically all these monies that they're making available are available to our residents as well. So I understand both sides of it. I just wanted to make sure that whatever we spent to date, we've already sent a clear signaling that we're asking for those monies back. And my final comments is, you know, during budget season around this time, we're always asking, you know, we're always value basing ourselves and saying, well, what brings value to the table and what gives us the most bang for the buck? And we always look at these types of organizations, right? Membership to leagues and these associations that represent us as being something that sometimes could be easily overlooked. And I think we've made conscious decisions to bring these organizations back when we've had really tight budgets. We've always found a way to kind of stay involved with them. And I know we made those tough decisions. And I think here is really where we should be expecting value. These organizations are the best equipped. Their mission is to represent cities, a unified front for cities. And I think that they should be leading the charge on this endeavor. So completely support what the Vice Mayor is trying to do, especially through the organization that's designed to do it. And I don't think we should be party on our own for this lawsuit. And I think we should be looking to the League of Cities to take a leadership role and really be the voice and champion the cause of the municipalities. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Collazo. Councilman Dieguez.
Good evening, everybody. I'm sorry I was a little bit late. So for that reason, my first question is going to be, what is the motion on the table?
Madam Clerk.
Good evening, Councilmember Dieguez. The motion is to approve the resolution of the Miami-Dade County League of Cities, which was included in the agenda packet of this special call meeting, to support a class action lawsuit against the Miami-Dade County.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Through the chair to the Vice Mayor. So assuming, being that it's your meeting, I'm assuming you made the motion. I just wanted to ask you to please elaborate a little bit on what that means as far as supporting the class action lawsuit by the League of Cities.
Yeah, so Councilman Dieguez, so I had laid out an explanation of what had happened and transpired with Mayor Jimenez. So basically, there was some negotiations with the League of Cities when the mayor proposed $30 million to 34 municipalities. The League of Cities president and board of directors immediately asked the mayor of Jimenez to start negotiations. He assigned his deputy mayors. By the way, the deputy mayors are not elected, and there's a proposal by the League of Cities now to remove the name deputy mayors and make them as assistant county managers because they're not elected and so they have no power. Is another issue, but we'll deal with that later. So in good faith, those deputy mayors offered 135 million with 70 million unallocated to the cities. At the last Board of County Commissioners, the mayor reduced it to 30 million without communication to the League of Cities, and we're back to scratch at $30 million to be divided upon 34 municipalities. And so, you know, originally the money was supposed to be given by population, and in those negotiations, the county didn't feel that they should be given through negotiations, that they felt that they should be divvied up as lump sums. And then the county mayor overrode all that and said, I'm not writing you a blank check. So here we are today with the League of Cities considering a litigation or a class action suit of the 34 municipalities against the county to get equitable shares. The equitable shares, if we were by population, would be 275 million of the 478 million that's in the pot at this time. And from those 478, we've been allocated 30 million.
But how would we, and I appreciate you briefly bringing me up to speed on the historical backdrop, but again, what would be the role of Miami Lakes is, I guess, a better way to...
No, the role of Miami Lakes is as a member of the League of Cities, being united front of 34 cities going after equitable shares of the federal CARES Act money. Unfortunately, and the mayor mentioned this earlier, the federal CARES Act asked for 500,000 as a population, and since we didn't have any city that had 500,000, it was given to the county, and so the county to divvy it out. One example, for example, City of Miami alone would require by population $80 million of that pot. Atlanta, which is a little bit bigger than City of Miami, received $86 million. So that leaves us, that leaves us out of that loop. So where we're at is trying to get the equitable shares. Although at 135 million, we weren't. It wasn't by population; it was just lump sum money provided to the cities. And now we're
is there a cost to the town?
That wasn't mentioned in any of the meetings, and I don't know yet. And I think that is something that. As you said that, and we discussed, we go into the next phase. That was going to be my next motion, is to have the attorneys bring back an estimated cost of what it would be to the town as our fair share of the 34 municipalities in there. So we'd have to look. Again, at 135 million, we were looking at $2.6 million coming to the town in CARES Act money. And now we're looking at maybe $60,000. Coming to the
and I understand that, but I'm trying to how do I put this? I'm still not clear on what exactly the motion is trying to do. It says, as at least the way it was read back, it was to support the class action lawsuit by the League of Cities, and I understand why we would want to support that. But what I'm having a hard time understanding is what exactly would be our role. Are we passing a resolution just expressing support for that lawsuit? Are we voting to go ahead and basically be co-counsel or a co-party with the League of Cities? Okay.
Great question. Great question. That was answered by the attorney earlier, and I apologize for not bringing that point up. No, we would be a partner of the 34 cities joining in with them, with the League of Cities, and approving their resolution to move forward as a united front if they had to file a lawsuit. What they really want to do is bring Jimenez back to the table and negotiate in good faith the money, the CARES Act money, is what they really want to do. And that's what they had the news conference here. They asking him to come back to the table and reconsider. And so we're not taking the lead. We're not taking the charge. City of Miami is have their special call meeting. I believe they were having it either yesterday or today as well to support the resolution of the League of Cities so that we can do it as a united front. We won't be taking the lead. We won't be the first one to file. There's many cities that are much larger than us that have a lot of money at play that are going to be filing lawsuits either independently or as a class action. Again, together we're bigger, and the League of Cities has done this as a coalition and knows how to do it better than anybody else. But we really need to the motion is, do we agree with them? Do we join into the class action suit and follow that resolution that was provided to us? And supporting the League of Cities to file on behalf as a united front or not. And so time is at the essence because they have put in public records requests asking where the money has gone, where the money is, if any money has been spent. And today, as of today, I have not heard any return as to where the money is in the county. And as you know, with our special taxing districts, there was a whole lot of money missing in that area, in those districts, and it was a mess. So when you're talking about $478 million, the other cities want to know where that money is going and where it's headed and where it's at right now. So the reason I called the meeting as soon as possible was to give them, the League of Cities, are up or down on, yes, we're going to support in if you have to file some type of litigation, but we're not going to take the charge.
All right, so basically we're just voting to support the resolution by the Miami-Dade League of Cities, basically encouraging them to go ahead and file suit. Of course, with the hope that, the mayor will come back to the table, but.
Wait, we've got to read the resolution. Hold on. And I don't, Mr. Mayor, may I address the board?
I don't see
him.
Oh,
I'm here.
Yeah. All right. Look, the problem is that, and the concern I have isn't that I don't want to jump in. I don't want to. You've got to look at the resolution. It's part of your agenda packet. And if you guys would take a moment to open it up. I agree that we should work together towards filing a class action lawsuit against Miami-Dade County to obtain such funding. I just want to be clear that it's hard for me to ask you to vote to institute litigation or jump into a lawsuit without seeing it or without knowing all of the facts as to what they're planning to do. I think we should support the resolution that says, because what the resolution itself says is the municipalities will work together towards filing a class action lawsuit. We can work together. That doesn't mean we're going to jump into it if it's got things that we don't like in it. So I don't have a problem with supporting this resolution, but I want to be clear, or I'm asking or recommending that we not take this as a vote on let's litigate no matter what, because they may a lawsuit together that I don't agree with. They may have a lawsuit that I don't agree with or that I think has no merit, and I don't want to jump in on that lawsuit just because you told me to.
Yeah, and I agree with
Manager
that.
wants to chime in.
Yeah. Let me see if I can help all of us come to where I think everybody wants to get to, but it also to eliminate the fearful part. In that second to last whereas, those of you who have the resolution at your disposal and have it open.
That's where I was pointing. That's where I was pointing.
Right, where it says the municipalities will work toward a class action lawsuit, change and strike the words "will work together towards" and write the municipalities shall consider filing a class action lawsuit. And that way, that gives you the latitude to someday in the future, once there actually is a legal action being considered by someone, then you have the ability. All you're doing is supporting the concept that maybe this is something that you would consider, and then just changing those few words would get you in support of 98% of the resolution, but it protects all of you and doesn't give, it's not you guys giving our legal team the green light to just go forward and jump on any lawsuit that's out there. That's my recommendation.
I completely agree with you, Mr. Manager. I think it's a great recommendation. And that was again, just which whereas, the second to last?
Yeah, the second to last one, just change it to, we'll take out the words work together and put in will consider, will work together towards, and just put in the word consider, will consider filing a class action lawsuit.
Okay, so basically, we're going to be switching this resolution, creating our own resolution with the same words, and just changing that one paragraph or that one.
Right, and I would
words.
change the part. I would change the, I would make it so that, look, if they come up with something that they want to do, we're going to consider it and we're going to support them, and we may even consider joining it.
Exactly. Okay, and that's really I think that's really what the league is looking for, is do we support them, or we, again, I wasn't part, because I'm not a part of the directors board, the executive board. I wasn't part of creating the resolution, but it was presented to us. So,
and this wouldn't be you giving our legal team the authorization to move forward. It would give you the direction to our legal team to continue to monitor it, and if some action is taken by somebody else, to bring it back to the council for consideration of us jumping in.
And if they call us, hey, we're thinking about doing this or that, we're going to look into it and consider it and report back to you.
All right. Okay. Yeah. On that basis, I'll wrap up and yeah, I'll support it.
Thank you, Councilman Dieguez. I know we have Councilman Alvarez, and I wanted
Mayor, before we go on to Councilman Alvarez, do we want to change the motion to reflect those changes? I think it's important to change the motion to reflect that, so that we're working on the same premise.
So the Vice Mayor is officially withdrawing his motion, and he's going to restate a new motion, which will need a second.
You want me to do it now?
Please.
All right. We want, the motion is to take the Miami-Dade League of Cities Resolution 2020-3, adopt it to a motion of the town of Miami Lakes, and in the last whereas clause, delete the words second to last clause, whereas clause, delete the words work together towards, and put in will consider filing a class action lawsuit. And
with the Miami-Dade League of Cities
or other municipalities.
Or other municipalities, but it's important that we put it there, because we're not going to follow. I mean, I don't foresee us filing by ourselves.
Right, and it does take consider. Then, right. In addition, the attorneys are directed that if another municipality is considering filing a lawsuit, discuss the issue with them, and report back to this council.
Right. Okay.
So that's a motion. Is there a second, council?
I'll second it.
Thank you. And I know in closing, we had Councilman Alvarez, who was
Yeah,
with
sir.
us. Councilman Alvarez, did you want to say anything?
I
He
believe he
believes
had
his,
to leave.
his,
He had to leave.
his moment. Okay. So, Madam Clerk, if nobody has anything else, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmember Collazo,
Yes.
Councilmember Dieguez,
Yes.
Councilmember Rodriguez,
Yes.
Councilmember Ruano,
Yes.
Councilmember Alvarez. You know, he said he was stepping out for a few minutes. Councilmember Alvarez. Vice Mayor Rodriguez,
Yes.
Mayor Sid.
Yes.
The motion passes.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. We're on to my item. This item needs.
Mayor, before you go on, Mr. Attorney, are you okay? Is that the numbers okay? You got 6 out of 7.
Well, no, because I'm sorry. Yes, it's not a concern for me because we weren't deciding to litigate. If we were going to litigate and bypass the dispute resolution procedures, then yes, I would need 6 members of the body. But since this resolution doesn't say go ahead and litigate, I don't believe I need the 6 members. And I think we're fine.
I just wanted to make sure you were satisfied.
But you do
I'm sorry,
have the
Mayor.
6 members.
Right.
I think we're all on the same page. I'm moving on to the next item. This item requires a waiver of section 7.3 of the special rules of order. I make a motion to waive the rules.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none, the motion passes. We're on to my item. I know I have Chair Abad with us, who's going to be speaking about this in a little bit. We did this last year at the youth center, and it was a huge success. We actually did a Beyblade night. It was a lot of fun. Almost 100 kids were there. This year is going to be a little different. We're going to work with the EAB, Giving Gators. I know we already have several sponsors like Pharma Natural that's going to be giving masks and other goodies in the book bags. But we're also going to do something different, a virtual game night as part of this. So, Chair Abad, is there anything else you wanted to add?
Well, good evening, Mr. Mayor, Town Council, and Town staff. So I just wanted to add that we did meet last week, the EAB, and our board members unanimously voted to support your event, the Mayor's Back to School drive-through event. As you said, last year we participated in the Beyblade Challenge. It was a very well-attended event. The EAB was very active there, giving books to kids, and there were other community agencies. But, you know, times have changed, and due to the current pandemic and the social distancing rules, clearly such an event cannot be held this year. But this proposed event, it does include a virtual game night, and it will be a drive-through event. The Giving Gators have graciously decided to donate 200 backpacks and school supplies. Like you said, there's also going to be other sponsors that will be giving out, I believe, some masks, some hand sanitizers, some earphones. So the EAB decided that we wanted to support you. We will be there if approved by volunteering. We're also hoping to gather a lot of community resources, whether it's mental health, special needs. We have talked to other boards, town boards, or committees to try to gather information to provide to the families. So I just wanted to remind you all that as we're getting ready to restart the school year, there are numerous families within our town that continue to struggle. And we're hoping that this event would not only lighten the burden of our families, but would also provide a much needed distraction to our children. So on behalf of the Education Advisory Board, it is our hope that the whole council fully supports the Mayor's Back to School drive-through event. Thank you.
Thank you, Hector. And Council Hector's on the front lines when it comes to mental health in our schools. He's one of the school counselors for various schools in the town of Miami Lakes, so he sees what's really going on specifically with our children. So thank you, Hector, for all the work you do on the AB, you and your members, but also what you do throughout the community. So real quick, I know Joseph in my office is working very hard on this event. He's going to work with Hector. We're giving Gators. I know they already got the game plan done pretty much all over the place and everything handled. So just I'll go around if anybody has discussion. Vice Mayor. Okay, Councilman Rodriguez.
No, nothing to add, Mayor.
Councilman Dieguez.
Nothing to add.
Councilman Collazo.
Nothing to add.
Councilman Alvarez.
Hector, you're welcome to use Cohia to stuff as many book bags as you want at whatever time. You're more than welcome to use our cafeteria. I know the mayor took full advantage of it during the pandemic, so I'm glad that the Education Advisory Board is as well.
Thank you.
Glad to help.
Councilwoman Ruano.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Would you be able to explain a little the event to me, because I haven't had a chance to read my agenda, so I'm not clear on what you said. That it was a backpack drive-through giveaway?
Yeah. We did a back to school event last year that was awesome, but obviously because of COVID, we can't do anything last.
Right.
Doing this year, they're giving out backpacks, school supplies, doing a virtual game night. I know a couple other cities have done that. Joseph's been working with different folks. We're looking at different sponsors. We're going to give out masks and a bunch of other goodies. So I know they're still working on that. I think the date is, since the school date got pushed back a little bit, I know the date's going to be later on in mid-August.
Okay. Have we received word from the school board? Again, I've been out of town for about a week and a half now, as to whether or not they're going to be opening at the beginning of this school year?
It's going to be 100%. It's going to be, I'm sorry, through the chair.
No, yes, council member, thank you.
Yeah, it's going to, I'm sorry, I apologize for interjecting, Mayor.
No, please, thank you.
You're the education expert. You're the principal of an A+ school, so who knows better than education than you, so.
Well, I would say on this conference call, Hector too. So he's
You're right.
So Councilman Morano, schools are slated to begin August 31st, and it's going to be 100% online, 100% remote live instruction. The superintendent is going to revisit, I believe he mentioned September 28th or September 30th to see if they can possibly reopen on October 5th. And that's the last that was decided on the school board meeting from last week. So they pushed it back a week. And the reason why is they're dedicating the week of August 24th to do parent orientations to train parents and students on this new online, it's called My Online, this new platform that they'll be using for virtual instruction.
Okay, thank you, council member. I appreciate that.
I don't know if I'm missing anything, Hector. Feel free if.
No, I think you covered it all pretty well. You know, the first week's going to be training August 24th, I believe. And like you said, September 30th, the superintendent's going to be revisiting whether we should be ready to go back into the buildings. And that will be October 5th, as you said.
Got it. Thank you. I'll just make a motion to approve the event.
Second. I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Seeing none, the motion passes. See, I think there's nothing else on the agenda, correct, Madam Clerk?
A report from the manager is what I saw.
There's a manager's report on strategic plan.
Mr. Manager?
Yes, we were looking at if you remember correctly, the rescheduled strap plan. I'm getting an emergency alert on my phone, sorry. The strategic plan retreat was scheduled for September. Obviously, the September dates are going to be problematic. I don't believe that any of you or anybody participating in the process will benefit from a virtual strategic plan retreat. So it's our recommendation that we reschedule the retreat until such time that we can do it in a in-person live environment. So my recommendation is to allow administration to work with the proctor and see if we could schedule it for early 2021, which I believe will be probably about the earliest that we'll be able to make this happen in person.
I'm fine with that.
I agree with Councilman Collazo.
It works for me.
That works for me as well, Manager.
I'm okay with it too.
Can
I'm
somebody
good.
make a motion so it'll be official?
I make a motion to reschedule our strategic plan retreat to early 2021, or when management sees fit that it's safe for us to reconvene.
I second.
All those in favor?
I'm gonna
Aye.
vote no.
Aye.
No, I'm just, I won't
Any
be part of the,
opposed? I think there's one
Only for-
opposed.
no, I won't be part of the council, but I think I think it's a great idea just because it would benefit the next incoming council member after November. So I think it's a great decision and it would benefit the next council member. So I'm a yes.
Got it. Thank you, Vice Mayor. So everybody voted yes. All those in favor, Mr. Manager, I think you got direction there.
Thank you
Madam
very
Clerk,
much.
Madam Clerk, there's nothing else on the agenda.
There is nothing else in the agenda. However, if you allow me, I just wanted to use this opportunity to remind everyone who's listening to this meeting, early voting started today. We have Mary Collins Community Center again as an election site, so please use that. Early voting started today. We'll go through Sunday, August 16th. So just to share.
Just to add on to that, Mayor, the early voting is from 7 to 3 p.m. this week. And
Correct.
next week is from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. It's not the
Actually,
full 12-hour shifts
yes.
that we're traditionally used to
I can
in early
read.
voting.
It started today. It ended at 3 o'clock and it will be from 7 to 3 p.m. until Friday. Then Saturday and Sunday will be from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. And then the following week, August 10th, up to, let me see the same time. Okay, up to Friday, the 14th, will be from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. And then the last 2 days of early voting, August 15th and 16th, will be from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. On our website as well, but I just wanted to share that with everyone.
Madam
Thank you,
Clerk,
Madam
can you
Clerk.
oh,
Thank you. What's that, Councilman Alvarez?
no, I was gonna ask, it's on the website.
It is
I heard you
on
say
the
that,
web.
but I was gonna,
Yes.
yeah, I was
it
just gonna
is.
ask if Ashley can forward that to us, but if it's on the web, that's fine.
No, we'll do that. We'll do that so that you can share with.
I
But it
can
has
forward
been on
that
the
to you, Councilman. I can forward it to all of you.
Thank you,
But-
Ashley.
No
Thank you,
problem.
guys. Thank you very much. Everybody have a good night. This meeting is officially adjourned. God bless. Take care.
Good night, everybody.
Thank you. Good night.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good night.
Bye, Gina. Bye, Lorenzo.
Bye.